it. Do vitamin D supplements work?
Oh, yeah, certainly.
They do work,
Oh,
and
yeah,
they've tested them.
yeah, there's a number of studies that have come out. Martineau, actually published in the British Medical Journal. This was back before 2020. It was a meta-analysis of randomized controlled trials, showed that people who supplement every day with vitamin D had lower risks of acute chest syndrome. The other one, there was a recent study that came out that showed that people who supplemented with 2,000 international units a daily of vitamin D had a lower risk of all-cause autoimmune conditions. We're talking rheumatoid arthritis, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, you name it. That was a study that came out that we actually reviewed that on our MedCram channel.
Because I've heard before in the past that a lot of vitamin supplements we take don't even get into our bloodstream and into our bodies.
Yeah, so vitamin D is very interesting. It is a supplement and it is a vitamin, but it's also a hormone.
Okay.
It actually manipulates DNA production, so it is quite interesting. But these are well described, randomized controlled trials. So if you're looking at the autoimmune condition, this was actually a study that was designed looking at cardiac disease. They actually had two arms, one with omega fatty acids and vitamin D, and they showed that in the vitamin D group there was a statistically significant reduction in autoimmune conditions. I supplement with vitamin D. Here's the concern I have is if you are going to supplement with vitamin D, make sure that you get your levels checked.
Why?
The reason is because it is a fat-soluble vitamin and it is possible to take too much.
What happens if you take too much?
It can affect calcium metabolism, and you can have issues with calcium, too high levels of calcium. It's very rare, but it can happen. And I don't mean to say that in a sense that I dissuade people from supplementing, because I think supplementation can be good, but at some point you want to get a level check to see where you are. The other reason is because based on your body habitus, based on your skin color, because people with darker skin, it's harder for them to make their own vitamin D. They need to be more time outside, especially if they're at high latitudes.
So like me living in the UK.
Exactly.
I need to be outside more.
It's going to be harder for you to make as much vitamin D as somebody who, for instance, if you were living at a lower latitude or if you had lighter skin, yeah.
What is vitamin D doing in my body?
Oh, good question. Lots of things. So vitamin D, if you were to look at the structure of vitamin D, I actually did research on this interestingly in college. I used to make starting material for the graduate students. It's a lipid-soluble molecule. And because it's lipid-soluble, it's able to go right through into the nucleus and actually go onto the DNA and combine with proteins that actually affect the transcription of your DNA. So in other words, depending on which cell type we're talking about, it can cause a lot of interesting changes. So it affects calcium metabolism. There's vitamin D receptors on your immune system. So it affects your immune system, it affects calcium metabolism, a whole host of things.
My team did some research and found that approximately 1 billion people globally have a vitamin D deficiency.
Not surprising.
And about 50% of the global population has insufficient levels of vitamin D.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, so the issue is that as the world becomes more industrialized, as the world becomes more well-off, they're able to create dwellings and they're able to air condition those dwellings. And we as human beings tend to avoid extremes. We don't like things too hot. We don't like things too cold. Well, I mean, let's face it, in our cars, we have something called climate control. We can set the temperature, and that's what the temperature is going to be. There's other implications which we can talk about in terms of hydrotherapy, perhaps, if we get to that. But the issue is we don't like those extremes. We don't like going out into the sun. And when we don't do that, we suffer the consequences.
Is there a way for me to get vitamin D without supplementation and without going into the sun?
Yes, yeah, it's in certain foods as well. Mushrooms, for instance, certain types of fish. They have vitamin D in them as well.
This is a strange question, but do you think our body knows which foods we're deficient in? And really what I'm saying there is, if I'm vitamin D deficient, do you think there's a part of my body that knows that I need to eat mushrooms?
It's a good question.
And that makes me hungry for mushrooms?
I don't know about that particularly. I can say this, though. In people who don't get enough sleep, we tend to have a predilection to eating more carbohydrate-rich foods. That one we do know.
Okay.
And this is the reason why many scientists believe that people who don't get enough sleep tend to have food choices that tend to put weight on.